Hello everyone, welcome back to a different kind of episode for Project E46. I thought I would cover how to adjust the mechanical throttle body on this car. So this only is going to apply to E46 engines as well as E36 engines, but this one has the M52TU engines. That's going to be your 323 and 328i's. Actually do have a cable-driven throttle, and of course there's a BMW procedure to adjust it properly, but it involves using a diagnostics computer and some crazy procedure, and that seems like total overkill for a cable throttle. Now, you should only really be doing this if you remove your cable throttle assembly or you replace it, or maybe you stretched your cables. In my case, I ended up removing the cables to do some maintenance work to track down some vacuum leaks, and I think I have the cable adjusted quite right, but it feels like I'm not going 100% throttle. So I'm going to take my intake system apart and show you how to adjust it. So let's get started. So unfortunately on the E46, the throttle body on all the engines, M52TU and the M54, the throttle body is way down here, kind of at the base of the intake manifold, which makes it kind of a pain in the butt to adjust, unlike some cars. Like domestic cars are usually pretty straightforward. So we do it to remove the whole intake system. This car is a stock airbox, but if you have an aftermarket intake, just remove it. So in this case, take your 10 mil, remove these two bolts, and then unclip the air cleaner assembly from the MAF, and then loosen the MAF from the air intake boot, and then we'll meet up down there. Okay, so the airbox and the MAF are out of the way. Now let's remove the intake boot. Kind of a pain in the butt. You have to reach a Phillips head screwdriver down there. Camera won't focus because it's very dark. And get your flathead on this worm clamp and loosen it and pull the intake boot off. Okay, so after a little bit of fighting, I got the upper intake boot out. Now, some people remove the lower intake boot. I don't think it's totally necessary. It does help to actually remove this piece right here, this side panel that separates sort of your braking system from the engine bay, but for me, I've tried to take it out before. It's a total pain in the butt to put it back in, so I'm going to leave that in place. With the lower intake boot in place, if you look in here, there is your throttle body. Sorry for the bad lighting. I have the camera in front of the light. There's your throttle body, so we can now see what the throttle body is doing when we depress the throttle. Of course, how do you adjust it? Well, that's where the cables come into play. If the camera will focus. There is the adjuster right there. It looks like a threaded rod just over the intake ventilation boot over there just to the right. Basically, there's a cable that runs through that each side, and you just thread it looser or tighter to kind of adjust the cable throttle. The M52TU engine is kind of interesting because it still has an electronic controller on the throttle body, so it's a sort of semi-cable throttle, semi-drive-by-wire. It's a very interesting kind of early hybrid setup. Later M54 engines are total drive-by-wire and don't have this issue, which is great. Now in my case, I was able to touch the throttle cable by finger, and it is a little bit loose, but you do want a slight bit of laxness in the cable so you don't possibly stretch it or break it when you do go full throttle. This next step's kind of a pain in the butt, but we need to put the camera here and watch what the throttle body does when I go full throttle in the car. So let's see if I can get a good shot of this. Okay, let's see, my camera will stay in place. Now, basically, I'm going to go in the car with the car off. I'm going to depress the throttle all the way down and see what the throttle body is doing. So hang on a sec. Okay, so I watched that video back, and it looks like the throttle body is not opening all the way. Now, with throttle bodies, it's important to know that people may think you want the throttle to go open 100%, but even on cars that have drive-by-wire throttles, that's usually not the case. Usually the throttle position relative to accelerator position is only open about 85 to 90% of the way, but still I think we're a little bit short as far as how far the throttle body is actually opening. Now I was seeing, I'm doing this by eye here, but it looks like it's not quite opening enough. So basically I'm going to go over to the adjuster, which is down here. Sorry for bad camera angle. It's this guy right here. Now I'm basically just going to tighten this up a little bit and see how we're doing. Okay, so I've adjusted the throttle body a little bit. Hopefully I'm doing this properly. Let's see how the throttle body looks now when I press it all the way down. Okay, so throttle body appears to be opening a little bit more, which is great. However, when you're doing this by yourself, here's it gets kind of annoying because basically, if you have the throttle too sensitive and too open, it will always be slightly open, even idle. Basically cause your RPM to surge even when you're just sitting there idle. You obviously do not want that. And so, unfortunately, with no helper here, I kind of just do this by myself. I'm basically have to put the car back together now, start it up and see if it still idles perfectly or whether or not the RPMs go up. And if they do not, that means we've adjusted it properly. And I'm gonna actually go back in even more because I only did a very small adjustment to the throttle body and see a bit more out of it just to see if we can get a bit more, power. Because that throttle body, like I said, it doesn't open 90 degrees all the way, but if it's not opening enough, you're just limiting the amount of air that can go into your engine, and it's obviously going to affect power output in the way the car drives. So let's put this back together and start it up, see what happens. All right, so I kind of mocked everything back up and kind of fingers crossed here. Let's see if I adjust this properly. Basically, we're just looking for a smooth idle. Of course, the car's gonna be cold. So it's not gonna be like a perfect 700 RPM idle, but we're just looking for no surging, basically. Yeah, seems good. Otherwise, engine RPM looks solid, it's not rising or anything, which means the throttle's opening uncontrollably. I think we're doing pretty good here. Awesome. Cool. Job well done. Hello, Jake in the edit bay. I'm not going to edit this weeks from now, so you're not going to remember any of this. But I'm a total dipshit, and like a lot of things on BMW, the throttle body cable is reverse thread. So in order to tighten and adjust the throttle body upwards and to open more, you actually have to turn counterclockwise, not clockwise like I was doing in the video. So do that in voiceover, do a voiceover explaining that I'm doing the video incorrectly, but the principle is correct. Some people don't do this wrong. And then cut to a video of the throttle body opening all the way properly. Hey everyone, hope you found that video helpful. I saw some comments online asking in the web forums, how do you adjust the mechanical throttle bodies on these early E46s? So hopefully that has been helpful for you guys. Again, this is only going to apply to the 323 and 328i, the cars that have the M52TU engine. The M54 cars, like I said in the video, are full drive-by-wire and won't need to have this procedure done. But I hope that does answer your questions. It's pretty straightforward. Just take your intake apart and access the throttle body, and then don't forget, like I did, that it is reverse thread. So I got this episode, so thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.